Opinion. The Italian connection of Madhya Pradesh Scindias. The House of Filose was published in Allen's Indian Mail and Official Gazette London, on March 25, 1876, that it is said that Scindia has just given a lakh of rupees, nominally 10,000 to the architect. We believe, an Italian who built the palace. Signor Filose is said to be a younger member of the Filose family, descended from Jean-Baptiste, and still retaining its pure European descent. This family has, during 4 or 5 generations, furnished faithful servants to the Gwalior princes. The present Signor Filose was sent to Europe to study, since when he has been employed on all manner of beauties, having no connection with his particular art. Between Mughals and the Medicis. The palace referred to above is the magnificent J. Vilas Palace in Gwalior, India, a fine specimen of European architecture and art in the heart of India. This palace complex was designed and built by Michael Filose after returning from a study tour in Europe. Michael was addressed as Mughal Sahib by Indians, and his grandfather and namesake, Michael Filose, a military commander in Scindia's army, had committed suicide to prove his loyalty to Maharaja Dalatrao Scindia. About Mughal Sahib, founding member of the present ruling party in India, the BJP, and a prominent member of the Scindia family, Rajmata Vijayaraj Scindia, and historian Manohar Mal Gaonkar wrote, he was the descendant of Jean-Baptiste, possibly Giovanni, who changed his name to adapt to the French milieu of the Scindia's army, an Italian gentleman who had taken service under Mahaji Scindia as an officer of the Campus, and who in Dalit Rao's time had become one of the principal supporters of the regime. As such, it was perhaps natural that Mughal Sahib should have derived his inspiration mainly from Europe. Nonetheless, the structure he put up shows evidence of an earnest desire to synthesize the style of the Mughals with that of the Medicis. The Italian nabobs. The Filose family loyally served the Maratha Scindias for several generations as noblemen known within the Maratha administration as Sardars, who had significant power in the Scindia kingdom. When the last Filose in Gwalior, Colonel Augustine Filose, who was educated in England as a barrister and, on his return to India, was appointed in the judicial department and later as private secretary to Maharani Scindia, emigrated to the homeland of his family, Italy. He left his property to the members of the Scindia family he and his ancestors had served. This Neapolitan family is especially renowned in Maratha history because of the wide spectrum of their contributions, from architecture to coin minting and poetry, and from wars to diplomacy and more. Frank Anthony, a prominent Anglo-Indian who contributed to the making of the Indian Constitution, wrote about the Filose family, one of the most distinguished Anglo-Indian people of European ancestry from paternal side families of this period, the members of which achieved distinction both as soldiers and scholars, was the Filose family of Gwalior. From Naples to Calcutta. The story of the Filose family in India begins with the founder of the family, a gentleman named Michael Filose, who came from Naples to Calcutta in 1770 AD and entered the service of Maharaja Mahaji Scindia 4 years later. Ultimately he found service with Benoit de Boyne, the Savoyard commander in Mahaji's army. He ultimately commanded a corps under Scindia that numbered 11 battalions. Mahaji trusted him so much that when he went to meet the Prime Minister Peshwa of the Maratha Confederacy in Pune, he took along with him Filose and Dutch Hessing. He had 2 sons, Jean-Baptiste, addressed by Indians as Jan Bates, and Fidel by an Indian lady. He fought along with Mahaji Jean-Baptiste against the British and was made the commander of Delhi by Mahaji's son Dalatrao, and his brother Fidel was made commander of Haryana by the same king. Jean-Baptiste was perhaps the only military adventurer of Hindustan, according to Frank Anthony, who survived the disaster of 1803 when the British defeated Dalatrao Scindia on many fronts. He had a colorful career. Before Scindia's defeat by the British, he used to go out on kingdom-taking expeditions. He was the commander-in-chief of the state army, which consisted of 30,000 regular sepoys and the famous artillery that had remained with him since the days of de Boyne. Like his father, who had helped humble the Rajputs for his employer, Mahaji Scindia, Jean-Baptiste played a major role in securing extensive territories from several small Rajput chiefs, especially from the Kichis of Ragagarh for his employer, Dalit Rao Scindia. He also conquered Sabalgarh for him in 1809. Shaupur was given as a Jagir fiefdom by Maharaja Daulatrao Scindia to him in 1803. In 1811, while in the service of Scindia, he conquered the village of Andala from Rajput Kichis and named it Isagar in the honor of Isa Masa Jesus Christ. He also conquered the famous Indian textile production hub, the city of Chunderi, for his employer, who made him the governor of the city. Jean-Baptiste served the Scindia house for 37 years and died in 1846. He built up a reputation not only as a great soldier but as a great scholar of Persian. In 1835, with his generous aid, Bishop Petsanai extended Akbar's church in Agra westward. This church was the first Catholic church of Agra, and it was the cathedral of Agra till 1848. In 1841, John permitted a Catholic school for boys to be established in his property at Jamunabad, Agra, and made a donation of Rs 1 lakh, a very large sum for that time, for the construction of this school. The foundation stone was laid in 1846 by Major O'Gorman of the East India Company. This school was named St. Peter's College and continues to be functional in Agra even today. Urdu poet of Italian origin. According to Frank Anthony, the greatest poet the family produced was Sir Florence Filose. Rambabu Saxena wrote in his book European and Indo-European Poets of Urdu and Persian that as a poet, Sir Florence is a distinct success. His Diwan was published under the title of Diwan Matlab in 1286 AH 1869 AD and was printed in Nizami Press, Kanpuri. It is a rarity now, and I secured a copy from Mr. Filose, Assistant Private Secretary to His Highness the Maharaja Scindia. As a poet, Sir Florence has displayed considerable powers. His verses suffer from no defects. They have lucidity, flow, grace, and spontaneity. He shows considerable technique and mastery over language. He is clever in the use of the various artifices. His performance is creditable. He deserves a high place in Anglo-Indian poetry and is entitled to be mentioned with respect as an Urdu poet. Florence was born in 1829 and died in the Gwalior state at the ripe age of 83. He married one Mary Ann, and both of them were buried in the Filose Chapel at Gwalior. Florence Filose had two sons, Colonel Albert Filose and Major Clement Filose. Sir Florence's elder brother was Colonel Sir Peter Filose, who died in Gwalior on July 4, 1872. The youngest brother was Lieutenant Colonel Sir Michael Filose, who was born on the April 18, 1836, and died on the February 5, 1925. He served under 4 Maharajas. The Pope conferred awards on members of the Filose family. For example, Florence Filose and Clement Filose were made the Knight Commanders of St. Gregory, and Michael Filose too was made the Knight Commander of St. Sylvester. The legacy. Swipe left for next video. There are no Filose living in Gwalior anymore, but their works and contributions to the expansion of the Scindia kingdom have made them an essential part of Maratha history. Even though they were Italians, they understood very well the Maratha way of governance, and Florence was even an Urdu poet. Even today, when visitors visit the J. Vilas Palace and ask who built this magnificent palace, the answer they get is Michael Filose, and with respect within the palace is kept the bust of this Italian Maratha architect. The Scindias did not treat them as outsiders, rather, they made them a part of their elite aristocracy. They had hereditary titles and fiefdoms given to them by this Maratha family. Information about this family is carefully preserved in the archives of the Scindia Research Center that this author heads. The story of the Filose family teaches the importance of intercultural dialogue and peaceful coexistence, a message that is very important for the world. The author is head, Scindia Research Center, Gwalior. Views expressed in the above piece are personal and solely those of the author. They do not necessarily reflect News 18's views. Latest blogs.